All right, and we're in. So first things first, good afternoon, everybody. See, we're still waiting for everybody to show up here on our webinar, but already I can see that Ariel and John are here. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate your attendance. Appreciate collaborating with us this afternoon. Of course, helping me out here, my master's coursework. And I see we have John number 2, Zamora. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. And I just want to go ahead and remind you guys that part of the criteria for this particular project for me, your audio and video is not going to be recorded. It's simply going to be me on this, even though I am enjoying seeing everybody's home workplaces. Mine really isn't that remote. All right, and we have our last participant. So hi, Christine. Thank you very much for joining us. No problem, no problem. All right, so as you guys know, towards the end of the year, we conducted, or rather I conducted a needs assessment, partially in coordination with my role as a teacher leader, and also as part of my master's coursework, to see what direction we wanted professional development to go in as we moved into 2017-2018 school year, specifically within our English department. The overwhelming majority of the responses identified a couple of areas that I think will probably not be a surprise. We'll go ahead and go over them. And with that in mind, I've designed just this little mini thing that's just, first, this is like sort of a first run. It's going to go through our grade level group, obviously 10th grade. And what we're going to hope to do is see this expand, working more with the department heads, with Christine and with Wade, and they getting some things signed off with administration. But what we want to do is we want to establish some grade level PLCs, or planned learning communities, where we can really start working not only on some immediate goals that we have in regards to common assessments, but also with some long-term goals, and just really see if we can go ahead and start tapping into the resources. Of course, our greatest resources being our professional educators here at Cerritos High School, and making sure that we're using those things to the greatest of extent, the greatest level that we can, so that we can give our students the best education possible. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to switch now to a brief presentation that I put together before we begin the actual collaboration. And here we go. Going to do this. I'm not sure if you guys can, oh, you guys just see me. That's mildly unpleasant. I apologize for that. And okay, now I can see here in the corner. Okay, you guys can see my screen. Excellent. We're going to go just to present here. And we will go over what. So our agenda today through our webinar and our sort of internet collaboration, go touch base on that first. The first thing is greetings, guys. Welcome to the first 10th grade English meeting of the 2017-2018 year. Our agenda today, we're going to go ahead, we're going to talk about our objectives, the connections that these have to LCAP, which, as you know, the main controlling document right now for our school in terms of what we're doing, growth, the direction that we're moving in regards to curriculum strategies. We're going to briefly review norms because we've gone over them time and time again, and I know that you guys know sort of how we operate and how we're expected to operate. We're going to touch on our baseline data that is sort of telling us what direction we have to move in. We're going to watch a brief video that I found on creating an assessment using Illuminate, and that's been shared out to you as well. So that's accessible on our Google Team Drive. And then we're going to go and we're going to get into our group. Obviously, we have our 10th grade level group already here. And then we are going to kind of just a real quick debrief session, which we can either do online here, or we can just keep moving ahead and doing, you know, via text, phone, Google Docs, however you guys feel the most comfortable. I'm very open to that. So, I said, this is our first 10th grade English meeting. You might be asking what's going on with future meetings, opportunities to collaborate. Well, when all that comes together, I want you guys to know that we will create a Google Calendar. Everybody will be automatically added to it via your district Gmail account. And so that will appear whenever you log in. Me personally, I'm going to, of course, go ahead and sync that up on my mobile devices, my iPad, my phone, and just make sure that's there. We will also create a digital copy, something that could be a hard copy if you want, that will be shared to Google Drive team folder. And we'll probably just say, you know, meetings or PLC meetings or grade level meetings. And you'll be able to go ahead and access that, print it out if you want, post it up somewhere near your desk, just that as a reminder. And finally, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give everybody an opportunity to review the dates. As we get closer and as I continue to talk with administration and, of course, Wade and Christine, our department heads, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to review these dates and just make sure that they're going to work for all of us and that there's nothing that I may have neglected to think, you know, an event. I planned something on a day where we don't have a meeting because it's back to school night or there's some other school function. So we will have an opportunity that will allow for that. So a little bit about the logistics. I wanted to get down the brass tacks of when, why, and how. So the timeline for implementation. Now again, this is connected to our LCAP, and I'll go over that in just a minute, but what we're looking right now is a hesitant first semester timeline. Now, in the end of the 2016-2017 school year, we put together a diagnostic assessment, or rather we sort of accepted what was going on with the accepted or the newly purchased curriculum. We use their diagnostic assessment for the end of the year as each future grade level's diagnostic assessment for the beginning of the year. So in 10th grade, the 9th grade end of the year diagnostic or assessment is going to be used as a diagnostic assessment to see where our kids are at in regards to those skills they should have picked up in 9th grade and where we're going to be going in 10th grade. What we're going to be working on today is this first common collaborative assessment that we want to somewhere, I'm thinking at the end of the first quarter, maybe midway through the second quarter, probably close to the end of the first quarter. We want to go ahead and have this first common collaborative assessment and go ahead and implement that. And then, of course, we'll have the time to get together, look at the data, analyze it, and think of and plan together where our next steps are going to be. That's going to be where the first interim collaborative assessment comes into play. We've talked a little bit more about these before, how they don't have to be as extensive as the ones that we're giving at the end of the quarter, at the end of the semester. And rather, maybe we want to sort of zero in on standards or skill sets that we knew our students had trouble over here, and then go ahead and, you know, think of some strategies, work together on our lessons, tool them, that when we come time for this first interim collaborative assessment, we're reassessing those standards, especially in the way that they are going to be presented to kids through the CAPS test, which I hope to have the data for, but unfortunately we don't have today. And then finally, at the end of the semester, we have our first district benchmark, which I know everybody's super thrilled about implementing. Thank you, Ariel. Yes. And we're going to go ahead and we know that that's going to have to take place. We have our window. They haven't given it to us yet, but I do know it takes place right at the end of our first semester. One more thing, be right back here. And so just go ahead and talk about our baseline data and the results of benchmark 2. I have access to everybody's results. Obviously, you only have results here on things on Illuminate, but I just wanted to go and sort of look at what I had for my 10th graders this year. I two 10th grade classes, and that's about 60, 70 kids. We see exactly what it's up to, about 71 kids. So, for me, I had only 15% of my students here in the proficient range. Then I had roughly a little less than half of my students over here in approaching proficient. And then this huge chunk here, 40% of my students were, far below expectations for proficient. And I remember John, that's the way that most of our assessment results look. There was some variation, there was some change. Obviously, for those of us who were teaching honors classes, they were somewhat better, but surprisingly, difference between honors and regular CP classes was not that dramatic. But yes, and we know that structurally is part of the way that the questions were framed, and that certain standards that we traditionally have done well on, like vocabulary standards, are being assessed in a very different way. The questions are constructed far differently on the CASP and on the benchmark results. So this was the baseline data that let us know, okay, we need to go ahead and figure out a way to get these skills up. So, objectives for today. What are our objectives for today? Objectives for today, I wanted to first had all these little things set out, but then I thought, you know what, let's go just look at the big picture of what they are. Really, what we want to do today is we want to do three things. We want to analyze, we want to collaborate, and then we want to plan to implement this assessment, this common assessment, which is going to help us get out ahead of not only what the administration and the LCAP sort of has spelled out for us and their expectations are for us for the year, but just help us figure out where we are with this new adopted curriculum, where our students are in result to these new CAS-style questions and exams, and in general be more effective not only as individuals but as grade level PLC. So, connections to LCAP, what are they? Now, I know that everybody has been through all the exciting meetings last year and the year prior to that when we were drafting the LCAP, and I know that Christine and a few other people who were in the leadership team got to go ahead and be more intimately involved in that. But hold on a second. There we go. Prezi Next, people, not Prezi Classic. It's not perfectly tuned here. But just a reminder that LCAP is now the primary document determining what takes place at CShinn. So, the main boxes, as we will, that our administrators have to check, where all the pressure is going to be coming down on this side, the district and for the state, relates to what we have written down in that LCAP. And so the LCAP specifically states that we are going to create common assessments in core subject areas. And ladies and gentlemen, being English, we are part of the two core subject areas. And of course, they're really looking to see us synced up, definitely at grade level, but eventually vertically as well, in regards to how we're assessing our students, what assessments we're giving, et cetera, et cetera. Finally, I just want to remind you guys that this proactive collaboration ensures our professional autonomy. And I'm not trying to be super negative about that, but just very pragmatic. If you don't want to have administrators feeling nervous and wanting to be more involved perhaps than they would like to be or we'd like to be in determining these things, it's good to go out and for us to do what we're doing now, before the school year even starts, before it's even time to have these things ready, have them already done, so that if anything, we're going back and we're looking at it and we're refining it, rather than having to come up with something new when we're in the midst of our instruction and we all have our lives going on. And so that's really one thing I wanted to stress in that way. We're being proactive here getting out ahead of stuff and collaborating is going to ensure that we keep as much professional autonomy as we would like within our own classrooms. So a quick review of norms before we get involved in what we're going to be doing. First, I want you guys to remember, always assume best intentions. That's not a problem with us. Okay, yeah, and occasionally it's been a problem. But as John said, for the most part, we are getting along. We are taking care of ourselves and taking care of our colleagues, and that's not too much of an issue. One thing we are, probably because we're English people, we move. I want you guys to make sure that you move all off-topic inquiries and comments to the parking lot, where we will get to it. Okay. Just back again. There I am again. If you guys haven't seen me, though, I hit something, but I don't know what I hit. All right, so quick review of the norms. We'll go back there and finish that. So we'll move off the parking lot. Obviously, we don't have the physical parking lot, you know, big sheet of butcher paper where we expect you to put the Post-its. So I've gone ahead and created a Google document that's shared on the team folder. And you obviously can just sort of a bolded list, just type anything that comes up that's not dealing exactly with common assessments or what we're doing. But just be mindful of other people's time. I'm, once again, very thankful that all of you are taking, you know, this hour or two, whatever it ends up being, to go ahead and meet with me online in the webinar. I know it's still summer break, summer school's over, but I'm very appreciative, and I hope you guys can stay on topic and take care of what we need to so that we can be respectful of not only your guys' time, but just each other's time. Well, yeah. Okay, so creating an assessment using Illuminate. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought for a while, should I create a point-by-point Prezi or PowerPoint and drive everybody through it? And then I thought, yeah, we've done that 2 or 3 times probably in the last 2 or 3 years, had at least one Illuminate thing. So I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a quick recap. This is from someone who's far, I think, more articulate and I think concise than I am. So what we're going to do right now is, I don't think we need to have this recorded. So I am going to go. I looked at the same way, excuse me. And I'm going to stop the share, and I'm going to pause the recording as we watch that video. All right, and we are back. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying through that. How was that? Was it too long? Was that brief? Is that good? Okay, good. All right. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, guys. I spent a lot of time looking for one and figured, you know what? I'm not going to make these people listen to my voice longer than they need to. They're the same theory I take with my students. I want to go ahead and put them in that position. So if you wouldn't do that to a teenager, why do that to a adult? So the very last part of this, guys, is the exciting part. And it's where we go and we share my screen again here with you. We are going to go we're going to go to the fun part, guys, because now it's time to design. So we're going to go ahead and take a few minutes. We obviously don't need to be, we're going to go ahead and end the webinar because I don't think that we need to be communicating via video here. It's taking up bandwidth. Yeah, I just don't think we need to keep going, but I want everybody to review your individual results from the number 2 2017-2018 school year. And then we're going to come back about 10, 15 minutes, and we're going to discuss the trends. And after that, we're going to use the results now so we can collaborate in designing this common assessment. Yeah, we already had a review of how we're going to do it on Illuminate, so we'll just do a quick discussion of what standards and types of questions you guys found the most problematic. And from there, we will continue to work. So I just wanted to say thank you to you guys again for sitting through the heavy me part of this PD session. And let's get to work.